Chapter 1. "You're big enough now," said the boy's mother. "You don't need to be hanging on my skirts anymore. You're bold enough when it's something you want to do." As she spoke, she raked at the boy's thick, unruly hair with her fingers and wiped a smudge of soot from his cheek. "You take that basket to the Lord Steward now and be quick about it. Are you a big boy or only a baby then?" "I'm big," he said, frowning. "I'm not scared." His mother flicked her apron over his shirt again and landed a hand on his backside. "Then get on with you. You ought to be home right away, Gird. Mind that. No playing about with the other lads and lasses. There's work to be done, boy." "I know." With a grunt, he lifted the basket, almost hip-high, and leaned sideways to balance the weight. It was piled high with plums, the best from their tree. He could almost taste one, the sweet juice running down his throat. "And don't you be eating any of those, Gird, not even one. Your dad would skin you for it." "I won't." He started up the lane, walking cantways from the weight, but determined not to put the basket down for a rest until he was out of sight of the house. He wanted to go alone. He'd begged for the chance last year when he was clearly too small. And this year, when she'd first told him, He frowned harder until he could feel the knot of his brows. He'd been afraid, after all. "I'm not afraid," he muttered to himself. "I'm not. I'm big. Bigger than the others." All along the lanes he saw others walking, carrying baskets slung over an arm or on a back. A handbasket for each square of brambleberries, an arm basket for each tree in its first 3 years of bearing, a ruck basket for each small fruit tree over 3 years, and a back basket for apples in prime. Last year he'd carried a handbasket in each hand. 2 handbaskets make an arm basket, last year's fee. This year was the plum's 4th bearing year, and now they owed the Lord a ruck basket. "And that leaves us," he thought bitterly, "with only an arm basket for ourselves." It had been a dry year. Most of the fruit fell before it ripened. He had heard his parents discussing it. They could have asked the Lord Steward to change their fee, but that might bring other trouble. "It's not the name I want, a man who argues every measure of his fee," said his father, leaning heavily on the table. "No, it's better to pay high one year and have the Lord's opinion. 'Tis not as if we were hungry." Gird had listened silently. They had been hungry 2 years before. He still remembered the pain in his belly and his brother's gifts of food. Anything was better than that. Now, as he walked the lane, his belly grumbled. The smell of the plums seemed to go straight from his nose to his gut. He squinted against the bright light, trying not to think of it. Underfoot, the dust was hot on the surface, but his feet sank into a coolness. Was it damp? Why did wet and cold feel the same? He saw a puddle left from the rain a week ago and headed for it before remembering his mother's detailed warnings. "No puddles," she'd said. "You don't come into the Lord's court with dirty feet." The lane past his father's house curved around a clump of pick oak and into the village proper. Gird shifted his basket to the other side and stumped on. Up ahead, just beyond the great stone barn where the whole village stored hay and grain, was the corner of the Lord's wall. The lane was choked with people waiting to go in the gate. Children younger than Gird with hand baskets, those his own age with arm baskets, older ones with ruck baskets like his. He joined the line, edging forward as those who had paid their fee came out and left room within. Once inside the gate, he could just see over taller heads one corner of the awning over the steward's table. As he tried to peek between those ahead of him and see more, someone tapped his head with a hard knuckle. He looked around. "Good-looking plums," said Ralph, Oreg the pig-herd's son. "Better than ours." Ralph was a hand taller than Gird, and mean besides. Gird nodded but said nothing. That was safer with Ralph. "They look better in my basket, I think. Eh, Sig?" Ralph nudged his friend Sicken in the ribs, and they both grinned at Gird. "You've more than you need, little boy. That basket's too heavy anyway." Ralph took a handful of plums.